Hey there YouTube. Today I'm going to be talking about setting up your APM. Now before anything starts, for those of you who might complain saying that I have a replica board, understand that I had a proper APM and unfortunately the model crashed and it damaged the APM and I couldn't afford to replace it, so I had to buy a cheaper one. And this is exactly the same hardware wise, the only difference is that this says RC timer rather than DIY drones. So, to business. What this video is about is the sort of tips and tricks when you set up one of these. Now, what you'll notice is it's got these metal pins, and it's got lots of them. But, in truth, you don't really need those pins or those pins, because those little white connectors you see are replacements. They're alternatives. And so what they're doing is bypassing these metal pins, or rather connecting to them through the circuit, so it allows you to plug in things that are neater and smaller. So this is where it gets down to it. When you get one of these, which is a MAvlink, or you get one of these, which is GPS, they won't come with these cables with white tips on the end. They'll come with these cables, black serial connectors on the end, and they're nice, but they're big and cumbersome and old. So what you'll do is you get this cable and you do that, and you'll get out the cables that come with the APM, because usually you'll get two of these plug cables as well as your APM. And what you'll do is just plug it into there and into the GPS. Which brings you to another problem, and this is exactly the same problem which you have with these, is that for some reason they don't wire them properly. They don't put the wires in the correct order, and if you don't change this when you get it and you plug these in, you'll either see the magic smoke come out or you'll just have nothing working. So the biggest thing you'll have here with these telemetry modules is that the connection pins go ground, RX, TX, VCC. So if I zoom in on that, if it'll let me, come on, there you go, ground, RX, TX, VCC. So this is a problem, because on your board, again, if I can get it in close, get it to zoom in, or focus rather, come on, there you go. If you look in the top right, just there, it says ground, RX, TX, 5 volts, which is VCC. You might go, well, that's in the right order, that's great. But it's not great, because when you transmit something, on the other end you receive it. You don't transmit it as well. So you'd have to put the transmit pin to the receiver pin, and vice versa from the thing. So transmit to receive, transmit to receive. So what do? Well, in lots of videos I've seen, they tell you, lop off the cable, connect the wires together, solder them or something like that. But one, then you might as well just use one of these cables, because that's incredibly messy to have those big solders, and they're practically the same as having that massive thing on the end. And two, you don't need to, because there's a much easier solution. So what you'll see is that on these little pins, plugs here, I can get it to focus again. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Okay, it's not doing it. Damn you. Give it a moment. Let it be special. Okay, there we go. Now if you see on those... oh, damn it. If you see on that plug, there's lots of little plastic fingers. And what they're doing is they're holding in the metal pins that are connected to the wires. So what you can actually do is get something like a Stanley knife or a protractor, and you stick it in to those little pins, just in between the plastic pin and the metal part, and you pry them up slightly. Don't snap them off, because that'll ruin your day. Just pry them up. And then what will happen is you'll be able to actually slide that wire out of the case. And you just repeat that for all of them, and then what you'll do is just You'll actually only do it for the two center wires, the green and the yellow, and you'll just switch them round. because that's all you need to do is switch them around and you're done. So now you have the module telemetry connected properly, and then you just plug it into its port. But then you come onto the GPS. Now this is the annoying one, because it doesn't go RX TX. Sorry, ground RX TX VCC. No, don't be mistaken. It's much more confusing than that, because on the board it isn't wired to go ground RX TX VCC, at least for the different kinds. I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, okay. On the board, it actually has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pins, but the GPS only has 4 pins. So when you get your cable, you'll know the difference between the GPS and the module cable. Actually you won't, because both have a 4-pin end and a 5-pin end. What you'll have a problem with though is, again, the RX and TX wires they will be the wrong way round, so you'll have to switch those. But you must be very careful, because if you look, if I can get in nice and close, if you look, there's a gap. There's 1, 2, 3 wires, a gap, then the 4th wire. And you don't want to plug that in wrong, because if you do, magic smoke, or it just won't work. And in truth, it is as simple as that, but it can get confusing at times. And so you want to be careful. And gosh, if you get one of these, you're in a world of hurt. Because, I mean, look at that. That's not even ground RX-TX 5 volts. That's negative positive RX-TX. And now that's what the pins are for this, for when you use the serial connector. But the problem is the cable doesn't come like this. This is what I've had to do. You've got to then rearrange this as well. But the difference is you'd have to rearrange all 4 pins. So not only is it quicker to use the little white ones, they're much neater, they're much smaller, and it's a whole lot quicker. And then you come down to the space saving. So you've got your GPS, you plug it in to that port that says GPS/UART1. It just plugs straight in. It'll only go one way, so you can't blow up your GPS. And again with telemetry, it'll only go in one way. One thing you'll notice is that it can only go into that port, because that port is 1, 2, 3, 6 pins, and that port is 4 pins. Now, the larger port is for power management, and for the smaller port is for I2C, which I have no idea what that is. So you just bung that into that one, and you should be ready to go. So I'll now connect up power and demonstrate. So that's the side with the lights. So what I've got is a UBEC and a battery. Oops-a-daisy. A battery. So you'll have to plug the UBEC into whichever port you've got the power through. So if you haven't got that jumper installed there, you'd have to plug the UBEC into the input side. If you have a jumper, it doesn't matter which side. And you must always connect the ground to the outermost pin, because you don't want to blow up your UBEC. Sorry, you don't want to blow up your board. So once you've got those connected correctly, you then connect your UBEC. Now, I'm being a little bit naughty because I don't have connector pins, so I'm just going to slide those wires in and be careful about it. But I'm a professional. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. So slide those in, and slide those in, and there we go. Life. Now, the light I'm using is slightly overpowering it, but you can see green on the GPS, green on the MAvlink, red and blue, and green on the APM. So that's all alive and working. In the next video, I'll be describing how you set up the software. Thank you for watching.